Good morning. Happy Friday. Welcome to the Utopian Cafe. It's Friday, September 24th. As always, we've got Stan Phillips here today. We're going to talk a little baseball. We've got 5 questions for Stan. But before we get to our guest, let's talk about the finish of the regular season in the Utopian Baseball universe, wrapping up Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock. We've got some big series, some big storylines. So let's get to the schedule for the East. We got the Phillies and Orioles. They're going to commemorate the 1983 World Series tomorrow afternoon. That's going to be the last NBC game of the week of the year. Mets and Expos must win for the Mets. They have to win 3 straight this weekend in Montreal, and the Nationals have to be swept in Boston for the Mets to have a chance at the postseason. Yankees and Blue Jays. Blue Jays come into today with a 2-game lead on the Red Sox with 3 games left. And Nationals Red Sox, they're going to be the TBS Saturday night main event game tomorrow night. So a lot riding on these East games this weekend. And literally nothing riding on the North. Everything's been determined in the North. The Reds have won the division. The Indians are hosting the wild card. Pittsburgh will play the Indians, but we're going to play out these games anyway. There's some statistical things to look at. We got Tigers and Indians. Addie Joss tomorrow night goes for win number 20. Pirates and Reds. Brewers and Cubs. Of note, the Brewers have won 6 straight and actually have a chance to hop ahead of the Cubs in the standings if they sweep them this weekend. And then we also have Twins White Sox. In the South, Rays at Cardinals. Marlins at Royals. Cool Papa Bell is actually going to make his first start pitching tomorrow. He's obviously played center field most of the year. He's going to he did pitch early in his career. They're going to give him a start tomorrow against Florida, so that should be interesting. And then Bulls at Astros, Braves at Rangers, separated by 2 games in the South heading into the weekend. And then where I guess most of the drama is in the West. We've got the Giants at Diamondbacks, A's at Rockies, Mariners at Dodgers, Padres at Angels, 5 teams, or I should say 4 teams vying for 2 playoff spots in the West. If the Angels win today, and they're our Xbox game at 3 o'clock, they're in. If the Padres win, Oakland is out. So a lot going on in the West. We have 9 teams in the playoffs right now: Toronto, Boston, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland, San Francisco, Atlanta, Durham, and Tampa Bay. So 3 spots left. A whole weekend of baseball. Every game on Sunday is going to be at 2 o'clock. So it's going to be interesting. Some of the statistical leaders heading into the weekend: Bryce Harper has 36 homers. The record in the universe is 38. Sammy Sosa has 116 ribbies. Carlos Delgado has 114. So the RBI crown comes down to 2 players in the East. Joe DiMaggio has 42 doubles. That leads the universe. Willard Brown, 15 triples. Cool Papa Bell, 42 steals. The batting race right now, Wally Joyner, 342. Todd Helton, 336. And Joe DiMaggio, 333. DiMaggio actually 10 of his last 13 to sneak in the top 3. So that we'll keep an eye on that. Addie Joss again going for win number 20 tonight. Smokey Joe Williams needs just 1 strikeout today to eclipse the all-time record for strikeouts in a season. He's at 214. And finally, the ERA title is going to come down to Bob Gibson, Jose Rio, or Hilton Smith. So a lot happening this weekend. Stan, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, and nice recap there. I just have 2 questions for you.
Of course.
Cool Papa Bell, by nature, did he pitch when he was in the Negro Leagues? I'm not aware of that. And it's not because I'm saying I'm doubting you. I just didn't know he was a pitcher.
He's not known as being a pitcher. He started his career pitching, and then a scout saw how fast he was and converted him into an outfielder. But he did have success as a pitcher, with Kansas City being out of it and being kind of struggling pitching as of late. They're going to give Cool Papa Bell a start. Maybe he makes a couple starts next year, like the Brewers are using Martin DeHigo. He was actually inserted into the rotation about a month ago. So I think it's just something fun for the fans to look at this weekend as the Royals wrap up their home slate against the Florida Marlins. I'm actually, as it turns out, I don't have it in here with me, but I'm reading Cool Papa Bell's biography right now, and it's fascinating. His career arc is just fascinating.
Yeah, I remember watching Met games. I know Ralph Kiner isn't attributed to this quote, but he would say it all the time that Cool Papa Bell would turn off the light switch and he'd be in bed before the lights went out. So
yeah,
that's a testament to his speed. And the other question I had, well, not a question, a comment. Addy Joss, I was just in my doing the baseball way of life. I always do research on what happened in a player's career. When I didn't realize he died when he was 31, but he would have been well on his way to a fantastic career beyond age 31. But he's still considered to this day one of the best pitchers in baseball. And I think that's the beauty, like just doing the research on this, you can appreciate all the great attributes and accomplishments that these players had during their career. And I think it's kind of sad that once we skip a generation, people forget. And I think even like today, kids just forget, like Joe DiMaggio, Babe Ruth, et cetera, and they barely remember players from the 70s. So I guess in a roundabout way, it's good to see that Utopian Baseball Universe keeps these players alive, and congrats to you for doing so.
Yeah, Addy Joss, actually, if memory serves me correct, I believe he threw either the first or the second perfect game in Major League history. And career cut short, passed away at age 31, but he will live forever here in the universe. He actually struggled a bit last year, was the fifth starter for Cleveland. They took him out of the rotation. He earned a spot in spring training, and all he's done is go 19-8. So he's having a fantastic year. And by the way, want to make a quick announcement before we get to Stan as far as talking baseball and 5 questions. Cleveland and Pittsburgh, which is the only wild card game right now that is set. Because we still have some teams that haven't qualified yet or who's going to host it. But that game is set. Pittsburgh at Cleveland. That is going to be actually our early wild card game on Wednesday, 8 a.m. So the wild card schedule is out, and the whole postseason schedule is going to be posted this afternoon or actually later this morning. So the early game is 8 a.m. Is going to be the Pirates and Indians. The managers have announced the starting pitchers for that game will be Smokey Joe Williams versus Bob Feller. They've faced each other a couple times this year. It's going to be a fantastic game. That's our early game, 8 a.m. Wednesday, Pirates and Indians. Our 1 o'clock game is the East, and we don't know who's going to be in that game yet because Toronto and Boston are competing this weekend against other teams to see who's going to win the East Division, and the third wild card spot hasn't even been determined yet. But that's going to be our 1 o'clock game on Wednesday. At 5 p.m. Central is the South Division, and all we know right now is that Tampa Bay will be in that game against either Atlanta or Durham. And then Wednesday at 10 o'clock Central is our West Division game, and we have no participants set up in that yet, so we're not even printing tickets for that yet. So keep an eye on this weekend. But again, Smokey Joe Williams versus Bob Feller on Wednesday is going to kick off our coverage. We're going to do a preview show on Monday. Really looking forward to that. But Stan, this weekend, I'm a little conflicted. The Mets are in town. The Mets actually, you talk about must wins. I think I looked at the standings last night. I think they're 7.5 back with like 10.5 to play. And it's all like, it's against the Braves, the Brewers. I don't know, who do they play next week early? Is it
they play a 4-game series with the Marlins. One was a 29 doubleheader, and then they finished up the season in Atlanta.
Okay. So, obviously a tough schedule. They have not played well in the last 6 weeks, let's just be honest. But I'm a little bit conflicted. I always root for the Mets when they come here, but the Brewers have struggled lately. The Brewers just got swept by the Cardinals. The Cardinals are the talk of baseball right now. They've won 12 straight. It's their longest winning streak in almost 40 years. Stan, should Brewers fans be worried about this Cardinals team? You know, if they win let's say they win the wild card game, and they've got the Dodgers in a short series. Does a team like the Brewers, who just got swept by the Cardinals, are they in their head right now, or is it, just late season? Hey, we're positioning ourselves for the postseason. Not too much to worry about. What do you think about this Cardinals team right now?
Well, my own personal belief is what the Cardinals are doing are amazing, but as Brewer fans, do not panic. And as always, I prep for the show. When I take my shower, I listen to MLB Network Radio to prep for the show. And Steve Phillips was talking about the Cardinals. He said they could well end up winning 22 in a row, but is that going to be a good thing for them come the playoffs? Because he says that any team that has a streak of more than 10, 12 wins, automatically it corrects themselves. And they usually cool off. And he didn't say this. I'm saying this. The point this year is the Yankees, they have 13 in a row, and then they just went in a tailspin after that. So sometimes when things are clicking too well on all cylinders, things cool off for a while, and you still have about 10 games left for every team the rest of the way. So I do think the Cardinals are going to cool off. And then the one thing is you have to remember they'll be playing in a wild card game. And odds are they'll be going against one of the Dodgers aces, probably Walker Buehler. I'm not sure. So that's a reality check for the Cardinals, just facing a top pitcher in a one-game situation when they're on the road. So it's not going to be an easy road for them. But what they're doing is amazing, and you shouldn't take them for granted. But it's not like they're going to steamroll. I mean, they can. I'm not saying they can't. But it's not a guarantee that the Brewer fans should be worried about the Cardinals at this point.
I mean, it's still a kind of a shocking turn of events. I was actually watching the game yesterday. They were the free YouTube game, and the Brewers led 5-0. Tyrone Taylor hit a grand slam in the first, a solo homer in the third, and let's get a game here in the series to gain some momentum. But then I think the Cardinals scored 8 runs in the last 4 innings to win that series. I'm not worried either, but the question comes up every year. I'm already getting text messages this morning. The Mets are in town tonight. It's my first game in a major league game in 25 months. I'll be wearing a Mets jersey, rooting for the Mets, obviously, to make a run here at the postseason. But really looking forward to it. Are you going to be watching the game tonight on SNY?
Yeah, I watch every Met game. If I'm home, I'm watching the game. Even though the Yankees are playing the Red Sox, I always watch the Mets anyway. But I will make a confession, and please do not eliminate me as a guest on your show. When the Yankees were playing the Mets were playing the Red Sox this week, I did not suffer any pain for the Mets losing to the Red Sox because I just want to see the Red Sox finish ahead of the Yankees, at least for the wild card home field. So it didn't bother me as much that the Mets were losing the Red Sox because I know we're still alive, and I know Atlanta has to lose like 6 in a row against all these mediocre teams. I know they're still alive, like a magic number of 5, but that magic number is so unrealistic when you break down the schedule. All the teams at the Braves have to lose to, and the Phillies have to lose, and everybody else along the way has to lose to. So for all intents and purposes, it's over. So I watch these games, and I know we don't even have a shot at 500 now, realistically. I think we have to go like 8-2 the rest of the way. So just to see the good team like the Brewers, and to be honest with you, the Brewers really fly under the baseball radar. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't even think they were on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball this year. I never see them like on a Saturday game on Fox. Well, sometimes that's regional, but I don't see them here. The Brewers really fly under the radar here in the Northeast. So it takes the Mets to actually visit Milwaukee or for them to come here, for them to get any kind of recognition in New York. So it'll be good to see. And I think people just don't realize how good the Brewers are. And you were concerned about them playing the Cardinals. If I were the Cardinals or Dodgers, I'd be concerned about playing the Brewers come a 3 out of 5 series too with that pitching staff. So it's going to be fun. And like I said, the beauty of baseball is the Brewers may have things sewn up. The Mets are hanging on by a thread, but there's always developing stories, and anything can happen on any given day in a baseball game. So regardless, I'm always watching because you just don't know what will happen. So.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm gonna I leave work today at about 12:30, 1 o'clock. So I think my girlfriend and her family, they're going to be coming down between like 3 and 4 today. We're going to walk the concessions, just take everything in. I haven't been to the stadium since they renamed it. It's now called American Family Field, so I'm still getting used to that.
Yeah, I still call it Miller Park.
Well, and I was still referring to Miller Park as Old County. I would just say, hey, we're going to County this weekend, County Stadium. But very much looking forward to that. Speaking of like the American League wild card, like the team that I'm keeping an eye on, we have a guy in this group named Curtis Pitcher. He's probably the biggest Seattle Mariners fan I've ever met. They're there too. I mean, I don't think they're leading it. I think right now
I think they're two behind. They're two behind.
Yeah. I would love to see Toronto and Seattle in that AL wildcard game. I think that would be interesting.
Yeah. Well, the thing about Seattle is they were actually overachieving this year for basically the first 4 months of the year. And statistically, they should not have been where they were. So they were winning those infamous one-run games, then getting blown out the next day, winning a one-run game. So people thought they were a fraud, but there was so much young talent on that team that the future is so bright for them. I mean, it really is. They got some, and Kalinic's another guy that they got on. I can go right down the list. They even have guys in their minor league system that are like top 10 prospects in major leagues right now. So the Mariners are going to be there in the long run. And what they're doing in the past month is basically what I thought they would start doing like next year. They're really starting to put it together. So maybe them more so than the Cardinals are the team you have to watch out for because they're young and they're hungry. So I know I heard, again, as I'm taking my shower, I'm listening to Sirius Radio and MLB Network. And they were saying that 6 of the games, I know they play Oakland 3 more times, but 6 of the other games are against a very weak team, and it may be the Rangers. I'm not sure, but it's a team they should beat. So while the Yankees are playing the Blue Jays, the Red Sox, and I'm not even sure if they play the Rays to end the year, but the Yankees have a tough schedule the rest of the way. And if the Red Sox are playing the Yankees too, that makes one of the teams has to win. That's the only thing that's going to hurt Seattle. But Seattle, they can make a move, and I'm trying to let me see the schedule here. I'm taking up your valuable time, but
no, it's okay.
I'm just curious now. And once I get curious, we'll be on here for 2 hours. But you can continue on. But I'm just saying, I think Seattle, you can't count them out. Oakland was the team I thought was actually going to win that division, and I thought they'd win the wild card, but it looks like they're fading fast. So, Mariners. But I think things are stacked up pretty well for Seattle. They just got to win. And they play, the Angels 6 games. So
I see.
They're a formidable opponent, but Seattle should at least win 4 out of 6 if they're serious playoff contenders and just take care of Oakland, and the rest, you never know.
It's going to be a fun weekend. Now, before we get to 5 questions for Stan, a quick programming note as far as what Xbox is going to look like this weekend. Today at 3 o'clock, we got that Padres-Angels game. Shohei Ohtani's on the bump. He's batting second. If the Angels win today, they're in the postseason. If the Padres win, the A's are eliminated from postseason contention. Tomorrow, we've got Yankees and Blue Jays at 3 o'clock. That's going to be Andy Pettitte versus R.A. Dickey. Blue Jays, again, have a chance to at least clinch a share of the East Division in the postseason this weekend. They just need 1 win, 2 games up on the Red Sox. And then Sunday, we have yet to determine what Xbox game we'll have. We're gonna actually do something Saturday night that we haven't done in a couple months. We're gonna do an all-nighter tomorrow during the afternoon, because I think we have 9 day games tomorrow and 7 night games. So the day games we're going to recap at about 5 o'clock tomorrow, and then we're going to actually simulate all the night games live on the air tomorrow, probably about 8:30, 9 o'clock. And it's all the games that are relevant to what's going on for the postseason. So once we get those results in and we kind of know what Sunday looks like, we'll make a decision on what game we're going to show on Xbox on Sunday. So looking forward to that. Again, a lot of stuff has yet to be determined. It's going to be a fun weekend in the Utopian. So Let's get to 5 questions for Stan. Some of it's baseball, some of it's not. We like to just get to know our guest here. So question number 1 for Stan. You have 1 quarter for the jukebox. What song are you playing?
Well, if you listen to my podcast, folks, and I highly recommend it, New York Mets Baseball Way of Life, I begin every show. Colin Cosell somehow got in touch with me during the pandemic when he knew I was a big Met fan. And he said, do you want me to do a walk-up introduction song for you? You know, like whoever, David Wright, put the 5, a dime, whatever song he came up to, you know, all these walk-up songs. So I said, yeah, if you could, do it to Born to Run. So if you listen to the intro to my podcast, it begins with the beginning of Born to Run and Colin Cosell saying, now batting number 7, Stan Phillips, to Born to Run. And the reason why I chose Born to Run is because that's the song I would play on a jukebox.
Nice. And it was Bruce's birthday, yesterday?
Yes, he's 72 years young, and I hope I can prosper like him at age 72 when I get to that age.
That's funny because I'm 45 and I look 72. He's 72 and he looks 45.
Yeah, and I look like I should be in the grave.
Question number 2 is, I work at Dollar Tree. What is your most frequent impulse buy at a store or gas station?
Well, it's funny you should say that because I've actually, one of my vows during the pandemic, when I was working in the city, I would impulsively buy something every time I went into a store like Dollar Tree or any type of pharmacy or whatever like that. But I've become good at that. But the one thing I do every time I go food shopping is, and it's not an impulsive thing for anymore, I would look at all the sports magazines, the preview issues and everything like that. And I always be walking out with a preview issue of something or another. It could have been roller derby. I'm walking out with a roller derby preview issue. But compulsively, we have a convenience store called Wawa here.
Yeah.
They were originally based in Philadelphia, so they make like Philadelphia style pretzels all the time. So anytime I'm driving by one, I don't even have to go into a Wawa. I just see it and I say, oh, I got to get a pretzel. So that was my impulse buy every time. I'd always get a Philadelphia style pretzel. So
what makes a Philadelphia style pretzel different than, let's say, New York or Chicago?
it's more chewier, it's more doughy.
Okay.
And and the flavoring on the outside is a little bit different. And it's not like a pretzel, shaped like a pretzel. It's sort of like an accordion. So you can buy pieces and break it off. And if you ever go to a Philadelphia sporting event, that's another impulse buy because they got them like on the shopping carts afterwards with the charcoal going. And you can't help, the smell drives you crazy. And it's one of those things you have to buy when you're leaving a Philly game or anything at the First Union Center or whatever. It just drives you crazy. And that's where I first fell in love with them. But then when Wawa started expanding their convenience stores to New Jersey, they brought that style pretzel here. So it's unique. It doesn't taste like any other pretzel. And to me, it's more, you can actually have it for lunch because it's that filling and, with the dough and everything like that. It's really, really good.
Nice. Now you're making me want to get a soft pretzel this afternoon. And actually we'll get to food here in question number 5, but question number 3. Last night I we have a lot of movies and TV shows recorded on TiVo, and I watched Wedding Crashers. Do you have a favorite Vince Vaughn movie?
I'm trying to think of what's the one with Jim Belushi. When you're in Chicago. Oh my God, I can't remember it now.
I can't think of that one either.
Let me. All right, stay with me, folks. Then I can dissertate when I get there.
I'm curious too because I haven't thought of Jim Belushi in quite a while. All respect to Jim Belushi. If you're watching, I know you're not a member, but if this is on YouTube right now, so if Jim Belushi is.
Well, I do. I'll go with Wedding Crashers, but I'm going to have to Google that because it's a rare movie and I can't find it just by it was good doing their names. But I do like Wedding Crashers, and anything with Vince Vaughn is a good movie. So it's hard for me to pick just one.
Sounds good. Owen Wilson's actually hosting the season
Yeah, I
premiere
saw.
of
I was actually
SNL.
thinking of you when I saw that they had the whole month listed. So,
Yeah, looking forward to it.
yeah, that's next week, right?
Yeah, it actually falls on my birthday, Saturday, October 2nd. Owen Wilson, Kim Kardashian's hosting this year. Jason Sudeikis. I forget who the fourth one was, but it's going to be a fun month.
Yeah.
Another thing, so I watched the movie last night, and then something I do right before bed usually is I'm obsessed with TikTok. Will we ever see baseball, a way of life, on TikTok?
Well, I'm not even that familiar with TikTok. That's one of those things where you put up like a 30-second video and it lasts for like a day on the site.
Well,
Is that how that works?
you can keep it up forever. So Snapchat is something where it disappears like after 24 hours, but on TikTok you can keep them up as long as you want. You can go 15 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute, and if you're a big time contributor, they'll sometimes increase it to 3 minutes. And I was lucky enough a couple months ago that they increased me to 3 minutes, and I haven't even taken advantage of it yet.
I just don't know what I could say in that short a time.
Well, so there's a guy, and a quick plug for one of our members, Gully Van Camp, actually has a fantastic TikTok account. He gives anywhere from 1 to 3 minute, basically history lessons on baseball. And I've actually approached Gully about becoming the signature voice for the universe, like for bumpers or introductions. So I'm going to talk to him in the off season about doing that. So if you guys are watching this right now, if you're on TikTok, I'll actually post it later today because I'm unsure what the handle name is, but a lot of great stuff on there. So Gully, keep doing what you're doing, and Stan, maybe off camera, one of these days I'll kind of let you know, or I'll send you some of mine. Mine are just goofy. I intended it to be for the universe, and then I just goof around with it. So I'll have to show you some of those.
Well, I'd look forward to that because to be honest with you, the only way I get introduced to these new platforms is someone recommends them to me. And no one's really ever said anything about doing anything on TikTok. And me, I'm the one I'm adventurous and always like to experiment, whether or not I succeed or I flop, and I'll keep trying until I succeed. And basically, I'm trying at everything. But I would explore that avenue without a doubt.
All right. Well, yeah, I'll say later today. I'll send you some of Gully's. Actually, they're really good. Another member of the universe, Andrew Taft, started sending me these TikToks from Gully, and I'm like, I got to follow this guy, and he followed me right back. And then I liked it so much, I invited him into the universe, and he's a really good guy. Big Brewers fan, by the way, big Brewers fan. So I'm sure he's going to have his eye on the Mets and Brewers this weekend. Speaking of Mets Brewers, I'll be there tonight. Stan, what should I lead off with food-wise as I enter the park? Should I go brat? Should I go dog? Hot pretzel?
Well, just based on my track record at Citi Field, they have like the best hot dogs in the Mike Piazza Club, which is on the second level. I always get a hot dog first, and then everything at that point, maybe I'll get a slice of pizza, maybe I'll get chicken fingers, but I always start off with the hot dog. That's my staple all the time because I used to eat hot dogs a lot at home, but I found out, believe it or not, they're not that healthy for you. So, yeah, it took me weeks to recover from that health fact. But when I do go to a baseball game, I savor the hot dog even more because I don't even eat them that often anymore. But when I go to a baseball game, it's a must on my list all the time. So I always start off with the hot dog, no matter what. Now, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Will you be bringing your infamous glove to the game?
So I always bring my glove, but so as it turns out, we're sitting in, and there's actually members in the universe that could be watching this right now that are going to be with me tonight. My girlfriend Jen, her daughters, her niece. We're sitting. When you watch a game on TV, you know how they show Bernie's slide.
Yeah.
We're sitting there.
That's a good experience. I like that.
Yeah, we're like above that slide. So, unless Sammy Sosa's coming out of retirement or, Dave Kingman, I don't know if a ball is going to reach up there. But yes, I will have the glove just for comfort. I like to just twirl a ball and just kind of, get into the game that way. So I'll have the glove. and I'm most definitely going to have a hot dog on the way in. They've added a lot of concessions over the last 2 years that I'm not even familiar with. I'm going to hop in the what do you call it? Gift shop, pro shop, or whatever. I'll look at like a $110 hoodie and then walk away. So yeah, very much looking forward to that tonight. So Monday on your show, we'll probably just be recapping the end of the regular season, maybe a quick preview on the playoffs. But do you have bonus question here? Assuming the Mets don't make it, I mean, they have a chance. They got to win 3 in Montreal. The Nationals have to get swept this weekend. But what team in the Utopian do you think could do the most damage? Obviously, the Reds are on fire.
I know you talk about the Reds a lot, but here is I'm going to give you that answer. When are you doing your preview shows? Because I want to get in-depth analysis on not only the teams that are in there, I just want to hear some of the numbers statistically and just form my own opinion. I just don't want to say flat out, this is who I'm rooting for, because in baseball, I don't really have a second favorite team. Yeah. Now, my philosophy was, and Met fans hate me for this, is I always root for the Dodgers and Giants if they're in there. Not because I'm a big Dodger or Giant fan, but I always say the lineology of the Mets is coming from the Dodgers and the Giants, the uniform, the colors, even though they carpet bag it and left and everything like that. So I always root for the National League. I always root for the Dodgers and Giants if they're in there. It'll be interesting to see who I would root for if it's the Dodgers playing the Giants again. Probably the Dodgers, because that's basically what Citi Field is. It's an homage to Ebbets Field. So it's hard for me to say, like, do I have another favorite team? No. But I always take a liking to some team during the postseason. Like last year, the one team I was not rooting for was the Houston Astros. And in our little group baseball way of life, you had some people that were like, poking the prod there. Oh, the Astros, yeah, they're going to win. They're going to win. And that would get me steamed. But I've matured since then. I don't let anyone's comments or anything get to me anymore. Let them talk, and then they just go away after a day or so. But, yeah, so I really have no favorite. I would just have to hear all the previews and take it from there.
So the preview show is going to be Monday at 6 o'clock Central. The only thing is that, like last year, we had a game 157 because we had a tie at the end of the year. And if we do have ties at the end of Sunday, those are going to be played between 3 and 6 Mondays. So we won't have a full preview until we can determine, all the teams that are set. And we've got 2 races right now that are 2 division races within 2 games, 2 wild cards within a game. So it's going to be a crazy end of the weekend. But that's coming up Monday. Stan, thanks again for being here, as always, on Friday. We will talk to you Monday on Baseball A Way of Life. If you're watching this right now and you're not a member of Baseball A Way of Life or New York Met Baseball A Way of Life or the Fun Group, join those groups. Stan is a fantastic admin for those groups. I still can't believe that you run a group that has 10,000 members with no other admin. That's just crazy. To me, that feels like a full-time job.
Well, not to say anything, I'm not going to stick a feather in my cap, but I dedicate at least 3 hours a day to all 3 groups. That's and it keeps me busy instead of like just vegging out in front of a TV or whatever. It's my hobby. So yeah, I have no problem with it. So I enjoy it. And hopefully everyone else enjoys being in the groups.
Yeah. So if you guys haven't joined yet, please join. Again, Baseball A Way of Life, New York Mets, Baseball A Way of Life, and the fun stuff. I enjoy all 3. I try to contribute to all 3. Stan usually sees me commenting at like 1 a.m. about do I like crispy bacon or
more often than not, you're one of our first match. And here's the thing: I schedule everything. I have things scheduled for. If you go into your properties in the back screen there, you can schedule everything. Yeah. I have things scheduled for 60 days, and I have them in different time slots, and then I recycle if I want to pass 60 days and come back. I think you're one of the early, when you do participate in Match Game, you're one of the first ones. Because here's a little inside info, only for Utopian Baseball Universe people. My Match Game, if today's September 24th, it always begins at midnight and the minute is determined by the day of the week. So today, match game didn't come up till 12:24. On the first of the month, it comes up at 12:01. So match game runs from 12 to 12:31, depending on the day of the month. And you're always one of the first ones up there when it comes to match games. Says, "Holy Jesus, this guy doesn't go to bed." Then I wake up this morning, he's flashing me on Facebook at 2:30 in the morning. Does this guy ever sleep? Does this guy ever sleep?
Well, speaking of sleep, I just want to say, too, a thank you to the Utopian Baseball Universe. Jeff Turner did something amazing for me about a week ago. He set up a GoFundMe because I mentioned to him, I said, I'm not sleeping well. My mattress popped. I got to get a bed at some point. He's like, I want to buy you a bed. I'm like, well, that's crazy. And he set up a GoFundMe. The Utopian Baseball Universe donated $400. I ordered the bed last night. It's coming Tuesday, so I'll be sleeping better. I've got 4 shitty sleeps left until that comes. But thanks to Jeff and everybody in the universe that contributed or shared that post, I'm so grateful for that. So do I sleep? Yeah, I try to. But I've been writing a ton. All of Friday's content or all of today's content was written last night because I'm not going to be home today for the Brewers game. So we're going to actually be sharing today's results at probably 3:30 actually, because we're going to be on the road probably at 4:00. So Padres Angels at 3, a quick recap, and then heading to the ball game tonight. So a lot going on this weekend. But again, thank you to Stan for being here. And Stan, we'll see you Monday.
All right, have a good weekend. See you Monday, Joe. Enjoy the game.
All right, take care, everybody.